And we are back. It is another episode of the New York Gun Guys podcast. My name is John.
My name's Taylor.
Steve's not here. He actually messaged me and asked if we were doing it.
And you didn't tell him?
Well, because we didn't really know. And we decided like pretty much last night.
Yeah.
And so...
He's going to think we don't like him.
He's working.
Oh,
I think
so it wouldn't even work anyway.
I mean, he's... well, actually, he might be off.
We'll just say he's working. We thought he was working.
Stevie, you're working. That's what it is. Guys, check out the other episodes on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. It's NYGunGuys, all one word.
Podbean as well.
You can do Podbean. You can do Spotify. You can do pretty much, I think, like anything at this point. I get emails all the time to our email that says like, congratulations, your podcast is live on like some like rinky dink, I have no idea what it is, podcast platform.
Fifth party hosting website.
I don't know what it is. So
the D list of podcast hosts.
But it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I saw one recently. We're like in the top 78 hobby podcasts in Canada.
Whoa.
As per some random ass email I got.
Oh. Well, hey Canada, what's up? Our neighbors to the north that can get cool Norinco and Chinese products.
There's probably only 78 slots. That's why we made top 78.
We share a border with them. It's like an old radio signal that just crosses the border.
Yeah.
You can pick it up in your car.
Geez. So that's that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We broke 400 likes on the Facebook.
I saw that.
Still lagging on the Insta, but that's okay.
Well, we got to post more to Instagram. I think that's what it is.
No, I think what it is just more people who listen to the podcast and are interested in our type of information.
Yeah.
Are just like, I think they just tend to be like older people.
Actually, I see a lot of young people. I see a lot of pictures of Facebook. It says so and so liked the New York Gun Guys podcast. I look at the picture. I'm like, oh, they're young.
Well, I mean, like people like our age. I'm talking about like we're like
Are you calling me old?
Well, I'm approaching 30. You're in your 30s, and then like you know, and then going beyond that, like I just don't see like people like my sister's age being very interested in this, and you know, kids who tend to be a little more on the liberal side
definitely aren't interested.
It's a lot of people who are on the liberal side are like.
I was laughing.
Facebook.
I was laughing at one point. I think in one of the previous episodes, I think I said something along the lines of like "lick my sack" or something like that.
Did you?
There's something like that. Like when it talks about like registering my guns or confiscating, and I'm just like they can lick my sack or some shit like that.
This episode lasted exactly 3 minutes before you said some weird shit where it like can't be a family friendly show.
Oh please, this is very family friendly.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's not. It's exact 2 minutes and 50 seconds.
All right. Well, you know what? Listen, maybe if you're a parent and you have kids listening, you need to explain to them
warn them after.
Yeah. Afterwards, you just be like, all right, we need to have a talk about what a sack is.
No.
Why you shouldn't lick it. Anyway.
Well, goddamn. You have a child.
Yeah. And at some point, I'm going to have to explain to him. when he sees a movie or a TV show and there's some dirty joke in there, I'm going to have to explain it to him.
You're going to have to.
Yeah.
This might not be the avenue that some people want.
Well, the world's a very real place.
This is why I clicked
stop
off
with the
the
hurt
box.
feelings.
This is why I clicked off the box. What is it? Explicit.
Yeah.
And it was like, do you want your thing to be labeled explicit? Yes, 100%. I know something is going to be weird. Yeah. Just for Taylor.
Because Taylor's a very explicit person.
I think that I might have been able to like
weasel through it. Not me. Anybody who knows me in real life knows that I say some pretty.
You say There's some shit I have to get rid of. I've told you before, but sometimes Taylor says some pretty shocking shit, and
listen,
I'm not too much into censoring, but even that's a little shocking. Like
I just say real shit. I just say
no. I don't know. That's terrifying. But so yeah, that's the good news about the social media. I don't know how we got on this, but the social media stuff is awesome. So if you don't follow us, I don't know. We have 400 likes on the Facebook, but yet we don't have 400 views on each of our episodes.
I don't know.
Trying to figure that out.
I think some people just might like the page because they want to support maybe pro Second Amendment Facebook pages, or they might want to share content. But hey, give us a listen if you like the page and you're just listening now. Listen to older episodes.
Yeah,
share
definitely.
them.
I mean, we have on our last one. I think we're like almost about to hit like 90. On the one we did last week about the gun control, the things that are like, you know, they have like a little more of like a quote unquote clickbait title, like tends to obviously get more views. When we're talking about gun control, so it's like
a lot of people
like,
tune into that.
Like the Biden, like the original Biden gun control one, got a lot of.
That was a very in-depth one.
I really enjoyed that episode.
Yeah, so did I.
So
did I.
All right, Taylor, what are we talking about today? You have some goodies here.
I do.
We're talking about guns for the first time in a minute.
A while, yeah, in a little
in
while.
a minute.
This is an episode I've wanted to do for a while, but there was other things that came up, gun control bills, just information that really needed to get out there.
Biden, Harris.
Yeah, Biden, Harris, Sheila Jackson Lee, all those assholes. So this is an episode that I thought we could do for a while, and this is going to be on 22, just 22 in general. My thoughts, your thoughts. Everyone kind of knows the deal about 22, but a lot of times it kind of gets overlooked, and especially in this age of pandemic, gun buying, crazy ammunition prices. Which, by the way, before we started this, I looked up the price of 22. It's like on average 25 cents a round, which is what
Taylor actually said that before we were recording, and I broke out.
Yeah, look it up, bro.
Yeah, no, I believe you.
Yeah, it's hovering around there, bro, and I'm like, that's crazy.
Well, do you remember when like a block of like 522 was like $20?
Yeah, $20.
And
even then, that was like a little.
What did we? I just saw recently. I think it might have been from our favorite gun.
It
not
was
so favorite.
No. It was one. I think it was $130 for 500.
Crazy!
Rounds
Oh my
like
god!
Oh no, it was 325. It was the bulk.
No,
pack.
it was 500 rounds for $130.
Yeah,
That's fucking outrageous. I'm sorry. That's crazy.
Well, it's about the demand of ammo. For example, 22, 9mm, 5.56 are all crazy expensive because of the demand. Other calibers like 7.62 by 39 are double the price still, but they're only still 50 cents a round because they're not as in demand as the more common American calibers.
I understand why it's amazing to see.
I don't get it.
I thought like when I went to the store, I saw a brick of 500 and I was like, oh, it's $30. No, fuck that. That's expensive. I can get it for 19. Like,
right.
It's like, holy shit.
I remember at gun shows after the 2012 panic when 22 was non-existent.
Yeah.
When that was the caliber that was non-existent, some guy was selling an old brick of 500 Winchester Super X whatever for $80, and I thought that guy was off his rocker. Well, now that'd be a fucking bargain in today's prices.
Fucking
but
ridiculous.
I brought.
Do you love 22s?
I like 22s. I'm not in love with them, and here's why. I would be more in love with them if, let's just say, I had a place to go shoot them more freely.
Like shoot cans.
Yeah, shoot cans, shoot reactive targets. Unfortunately, a lot of the ranges where we live on, Long Island downstate, no steel, just paper, and it's not as interactive as I'd like it to be.
I think if I had land,
yeah,
and I didn't live on Long Island, like where there is no land, that it would be fun to just like do, just hang out, and pop, just do, just
and
have
shoot.
fun with it.
I mean, even people who can own it, suppressed 22s are great. I mean, it's like it sounds like a BB gun, but it's an actual firearm, and you can go and shoot and have interactive fun with targets, reactive targets, things like that. Yeah. That to me would be more fun. So I like 22s. I'm not necessarily in love with them, but I like them here.
I personally, I don't own a 22, and I don't. Well, the first gun I ever shot was a 22. Like going back like years, with my dad had a couple different 22s. He had a 10-22, and he had like a Marlin, or a Merlin, whatever.
Marlin,
yeah. That was like my mom's
probably like a Model
gun.
66 or something like that.
Two
bed.
Super. No, it wasn't two.
Oh, it wasn't.
No,
it
was magazine.
Oh, okay.
But it was like a single stack magazine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Okay.
But so I think that was like my mom's or my dad's, and then the opposite had the Ruger 10-22.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of memories of the 22.
Yeah.
And when I was a Boy Scout, we had gone to summer camp, and
the 4-H.
They actually have their own range there, where you could take like a marksmanship merit badge, and we got to shoot 22 bolt action.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And also 22, I mean, it comes in shorts, long rifles, high velocity, magnum. So like a 22 short, if you have like a lever gun and it could shoot 22 shorts, it's like it's like a gallery gun. Like back in the day, like they would have like at a bar, they would have 22 short rifles, and you would just shoot targets, and it was this was a long time ago, but
I think like schools used to like when schools had shooting teams back when
they were either air rifle or they were 22.
Correct, when everyone wasn't afraid of
school shooting.
Well, not even that, just like something's wrong. Something's weird. Do you hear that?
Yeah, my left ear just cut out.
Okay, cool. Just as long as it wasn't me.
Nah.
But what's it called? Yeah, back when people weren't, when the teachers and the schools weren't so liberal and whatnot. But so there's a lot of cool things you could do with a 22. I mean, it's good. I mean, if you want to shoot people eat fucking people shoot rabbits with them.
Yeah, great
people
for small
hunt,
game.
What's it called? Squirrel.
Yeah, squirrel, rabbit, other types of varmint, little creatures. I happen to really like 22 for the fact that before all this gun nonsense happened, you could pick up a 22 for like $200, a Ruger 1022.
Right.
You could pick up a brick of ammo for $20 and just have a day of shooting.
Well, we have a mutual. I don't really want to. We'll call him a friend, a mutual acquaintance.
Sure.
Yeah, somebody Taylor is very fond of.
No.
Anyway, what does he have? He has a Ruger 1022.
He's got a 1022, yeah.
And can you just describe this firearm?
I've never seen it personally, but you've told me about it.
A little bit.
Basically, this dude went to the gun shop and spent a shitload of money on a 1022 to try and become some sort of like quote sniper. And like, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like,
he bought a 1020. Well, the whole reason why he bought the 1022 is because it was like cheap to shoot, and he just wanted to like be able to like go to the range and just to relax.
Yeah, but the way he was like talking about it, like was that like he was the next like Chris Kyle, and I'm like,
he put like a huge scope on it.
Yeah,
it's massive.
Yeah,
and like he was shooting like 100 yards.
I mean, there's a time and place for that. The 1022 is very accurate. You could get a very accurate 22.
Yeah. He was shooting
but just everything that guy does. It's just
he was shooting. He was shooting. He was taping quarters. He had like a pocket full of quarters. He was like taping them to the. And he was hitting them.
Yeah, no,
I shot it. I mean, it was a fun little gun.
I have no
like,
doubt when you put enough money into a rifle, it will be accurate. But
yeah,
his whole mentality going into it is just laughable in my opinion.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, that's right.
So speaking of the first gun, I brought a couple of really nice things with me here today. The first gun is a 1022.
Yep,
it's a 50th anniversary model, which doesn't make it any different than any other one. The bolt just has a 50th anniversary on it.
Exactly.
It's got a black synthetic stock.
It looks exactly the same as the one my dad had from the 80s. Other than the
10
stock.
round,
the stock. My dad's stock is wood.
10-round box mag. But
now, did this come stock? This came with this synthetic stock.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Some interesting facts about the 1022. It was introduced in 1964, designed by Bill Ruger and Harry Seafried II. Basically, over 7 million of them have been built from the last count was 2015. They made a bunch of different models: pistols, short rifles, integrally suppressed rifles, takedown models. And you know, John, there's an interesting fact that Wikipedia has. I'm going to read this off Wikipedia. The Ruger 1022 has seen limited use by the Israel Defense Forces in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict as a, quote, less than lethal weapon for security and crowd or riot control purposes in the Palestinian territories.
Wow. I can see that. I could see this being considered less than lethal.
They put a suppressor on it, and like they would basically shoot at people that it's considered less lethal. But the last person...
I mean, let's be real. This isn't going to kill you unless like you get shot like perfectly in the head.
Well, the last person who has died from one of these was killed in December of 2020.
Right,
so,
but like where were they shot?
I don't know, but I'm just saying it's still
because you know what, like, and a lot of people don't realize this. It's actually pretty hard to even shoot somebody in the head, and like it's weird. Like bullets do like just ricochet off of skulls, you know. So like you pretty much need like a 90-degree.
Well, what I'm
angle.
getting at is that even a 22, some people think are less than lethal. It could kill you. I mean,
of course it can.
So that's what I find funny. The Israelis are like, nah, it's just a 22. It's just nothing.
Well,
and then
if you shoot center mass, you're probably not going to die from this.
No, but that's why they consider it less lethal.
Correct.
But
that's very interesting. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Can you imagine if they considered this less than lethal in the U.S.?
Hey, John, that's a weapon of war.
It's not. It doesn't have a pistol grip. It's
not a weapon of war, even though the IDF is using them. So that's an interesting fact that I found out about
funny, yeah.
The 1022 is modifiable to pretty much anything you want. I mean, in New York, we have to keep it compliant. No threaded barrel, no pistol grip, no
right.
You know, but in free states, you can make one of these look like an M1 carbine. You can make one of these look like a Thompson. I've seen that's pretty cool.
Well, we had a conversation with our friend over from across the pond, and he said that I don't know if you saw. He said that people basically rimfire is like not.
Yeah, it's not prohibited over there.
Right. So everyone's under this impression that like you can't have any guns over there in the UK, but
just center fire guns are.
So he was telling me that pretty much like AR variants for 22
are non-restricted.
Are like non-restricted over there, so like a lot of people have them.
Oh yeah,
which I thought was very interesting that they would just like not even consider this like.
Well, for example, in the Safe Act, there's a carve out for tube-fed magazine 22s.
Right.
So tubular magazine.
But to just say like altogether like rimfire is okay, like it's just one of those weird things, you know. And like shotguns aren't even really that restricted over there either.
No, sporting shotguns aren't. But again, it's like one of those laws where they think some things are less lethal than others, but it's still technically a firearm.
It's just funny because like basically our gun control revolves around like type of gun, and
Right.
their gun control revolves around more so like ammunition types.
Caliber.
Right. It's just it's an interesting point of view.
Barrel length. Like
Right.
they have weird things with pistols where they have 1911s
Yeah.
and pistols with long barrels and like an extension off the grip
Yeah.
to make it a certain length.
Yeah, and I so want to have him like phone in.
Yeah.
And
We'll work on that.
we're gonna
'Cause
have to
he
talk
said
to
that
him.
would be cool. Like,
Did he? Because I know
either do like a Discord or like a phone in.
Yeah, I would love to do something like that.
Yeah.
'cause, I mean, just to have his point of view, someone who lives it every day. You know?
Oh, yeah.
And he's a really nice guy.
And I was talking with him, and like I said in previous episodes, like their take on collectible historical firearms are completely different too. Even though they have to be deactivated, they don't have to be destroyed.
Right.
Which over here, collectible firearms, like let's just say you find a machine gun in an attic from World War II or something. Technically, if it's not registered, it has to be destroyed. Over there, it could just be deactivated by just cutting the bolt and plugging the barrel.
Yeah.
And it's fine. So you kind of preserve history in that way.
Yeah.
Also, their system, just a little anecdote, their system of museums is different too. Like over there, they have like an application to become a museum, like to have firearms. And basically the government then gives them carte blanche to have whatever. As opposed to over here, if it's not a government-run museum, then they can't have any machine gun they want. Somebody can't just donate an unregistered machine gun to a private museum.
Right.
It has to be destroyed.
You know, it's funny. People always say like, "Oh, we should just do what the UK did," but I mean, I think we should have like pretty much next to no gun control.
Same.
But like I think there could be a blending of like the best of both worlds, but it'll never happen.
No.
So do you have anything else to say about the 1022?
The 1022, basically, you could build a whole 1022 from nothing Ruger parts. Like, you could, Volkortsen makes them. Like, you could get a receiver, aftermarket parts, and just build a 1022. You don't have to have a single Ruger part to build a 1022.
Right.
It's amazing.
Right.
Excuse me. They're incredibly fun. They're incredibly accurate. I've said in a previous podcast, I like starting people on a 22 or an SKS. I know the SKS might seem a little crazy, but sometimes people, I think, respect a gun more if they feel that it's like a 22 has almost no recoil. Like a 7.62x39 has recoil. So if you teach somebody, okay, this is what it's going to feel like, as opposed to start them on a 22 where they don't have that expectation.
Yeah, I think that like a 22 is really good to start somebody off on
The fundamentals.
Okay. Well, yeah, the fundamentals. Okay, here's like let's talk about like trigger control. Let's talk about how to load, unload. Let's talk about if the gun has it a safety, things like that. And then you could say, okay, like now that you've shot a gun for the first time, because a lot of people, even like men, are like scared, because of recoil. And then like, especially like I know like women, I like if I was gonna take my wife, it would be a 22 would be the first one.
Yeah.
Just so she can, because she doesn't know what to expect at all.
Right.
And then we would go from there. But I think it's good to start somebody on a 22 and then graduate up.
Yeah, either a 22 or the SKS is my go-to, because the SKS is still a very safe, reliable firearm. And like I
think
said,
that's just showing your bias against the 22.
No, not necessarily, because like in my mind, I'm not a certified firearms trainer, so like this could all just be fucking bullshit. But in my mind, you hand somebody a gun and they expect it to have recoil, so it's meeting their expectations of recoil. So that way, it kind of just removes the unknown, the fear of it. For example, like if you give somebody a 22, it has no recoil, but they're still like, okay, well, that next gun's gonna have recoil. Yeah, but
there's no recoil. I mean, you are gonna feel it. You're fucking huge. You're gonna feel it less than.
Thanks, John.
Well, you're tall and you have a little bit of a gut.
Thanks.
Okay, and I'm short and I have a little bit of a gut.
Way to make me feel self-conscious. Are you fat shaming me right now?
Yes, I am.
Triggered.
You shouldn't be fat. How dare you?
Triggered.
I just fucking totally lost my train of thought thanks to you.
About 22.
But
recoil.
okay, so like the 22, like you might not feel it, I might not feel it, but like my wife or your wife might feel it, or when you have a kid, or when your kid's old enough, when he's however old.
I'm gonna start my son on an M1 Garand. No, I'm just kidding. It's gonna be a 22.
It's gonna fucking destroy him. But that'll
be a 22.
The Mosin, the carbine.
Yeah, the M44. He'll start on an M44.
Fire, yeah.
Hey, like I tell my wife, if child soldiers in Africa can shoot it, so can you. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
So the next thing I'm going to talk about, and moving on. So yeah, 1022. Buy it if you don't have one. They're a little pricey right now, a little hard to find, but there's millions of them out there, so you could find one used.
So talk about your conversion kit, because a lot of people might not realize that 223 and 22 can be shot from the same barrel.
So caliber 22 long rifle and 223 caliber are the same caliber, 22 caliber. That's why if you buy cleaning products for your AR-15, it's 22 caliber. They just specify 223 because some products are made specifically for an AR-15.
Yeah.
I've had this product for many years, and basically what it is a conversion kit that allows you to shoot 22 long rifle rimfire out of your centerfire AR-15. What it does is it replaces the bolt, and it replaces the bolt carrier, and it replaces the magazine. Now, how it works is, you have it here. This one, a bunch of different companies make it. CMMG makes one. Bravo company makes one, I think. This one's made by Scener. This is an older one. I've got this. I've had this for years. There are nowadays, if you could find them, because actually, believe it or not, they're a little bit hard to find. They go for like $200, $250.
It's not bad.
No.
Because it's pretty much replacing the need to buy a whole nother gun.
Right, exactly. So what this is it looks like a bolt carrier, and it has a bolt that slides back and forth, but the chamber is in the shape of a 223 round. So basically, the end of the bolt has a 223. It looks like a 223 case that goes into the chamber of your AR-15. But inside that is a subcaliber chamber for 22. So that's how this works. It basically fires 22 rimfire through the dimensions of a 223 case, which takes up your chamber in your gun.
Interesting.
So, and, depending on the type of gun you have, depending on the twist rate or whatever, it's not meant for the most accurate thing. It's more meant for training to run cheap ammo through your guns. That way you're not burning up 223. And before this whole ammo buying pandemic, it was
a great option.
Yeah, it was a great option. So,
and it will once again be a great option as soon as this mess is all over.
So, and it comes with a little 10-round magazine, but in states where you could have less restrictive magazine laws, you could get a 30-round magazine. And basically, the magazine is interesting because it's this little skinny 22 mag, but it has a magazine block well adapter that goes around the magazine, and it fits in the space of a normal AR-15 magazine well. So it just slides up in there. And no, the other way. So turn it upside. Yeah, that's the bottom.
Oh, okay, I see.
That's the
I was
bottom.
looking at the wrong part.
So
I don't remember using. I guess we did, but I don't.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, John shot this before.
Yeah.
So
long time ago.
I haven't taken
gotta
this
be
out.
like 10 years.
Yeah,
dude.
at least.
It's amazing, man, how long
I bought this when I
I've
was
known you for
living,
way too long.
I bought this when I was living in Suffolk County.
I've known this guy for way too fucking long.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But so this is a great option also to introduce somebody to an AR platform.
Yeah.
If they've never shot one, or if they might be a little intimidated and you don't want to spend the money on shooting 223, you just shoot some 22 out of that. And it just trains you in the handling, the ergonomics, the safety of an AR.
Because I think an AR does take a little bit of getting used to.
I think it's a little more intuitive, but people have that stigma with it, especially if they've never shot one before.
Sure.
So they think it's going to be this crazy, powerful cannon when it's really not.
No,
it's just loud.
That, right.
It's loud more than anything. So that's a great option. I've had that for years. And like
Where
I said,
can you get one of those?
Do you just Google AR-15 22 conversion
and that
bolt?
could just be sent right to your door. There's nothing special about that. Okay, cool.
Nope, it's just a bolt and a magazine.
Cool.
So it goes in any standard AR-15, 223 caliber. Doesn't work in a 300 blackout. Doesn't work in a 6.8. Yada yada. But it's it's something great. It's something that you could just take with you to the range, and instead of bringing a whole nother 22 rifle, you just take that.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, not too much to talk about. Like I said, now those are going for like $250.
Yeah, it's not
around
bad.
there. No, it's not terrible. I mean, it's a little overpriced for what it is, but
right.
It's just kind of a niche kind of thing.
And what's this other
now
god awful? Hold on.
Oh no! It's not god awful. Now you know me, John. I can't do anything really conventionally. I always got to throw a wild card in there. That.
Yep. Go ahead.
So that is a Remington rolling block number 4, 22 single shot rifle.
Right.
I don't know the date, but basically they introduced a number 4 in the late 1800s,
and
then they made it into like the 1930s.
There's like no markings on this
It's
at all.
on the underside of the barrel. So if just forward of the handguard, there's a serial number and the caliber.
Have you like looked up the serial number? Anything like who's the manufacturer? On this?
Remington.
Okay.
And the reason I brought
they must know. Like if you ran.
Yeah, you could look it up. I just never got too into it.
Shit, that's something I would love to know.
Oh.
You should. Good work, Taylor.
Well,
you didn't look it up.
Maybe we'll put a postscript in this. But anyway, if you look on the top of the barrel, it's Remington, made in Ilion, New York, where Remington used to make firearms before the liberals killed the gun industry in New York State. That's part of why I brought that particular gun. It's definitely old. I've shot it before.
This looks like the kind of thing I don't even know.
Like Tom Sawyer carried. It's got a.
This is like get off my lawn type
It's
shit,
a little
dude.
octagonal barrel 22. The cool thing is you could shoot 22 short, long, or long rifle.
This
through
is
it.
like the type of thing I would see in like an old movie where like, someone's like walking up to someone's property and they come out the house and they're like this, like get off my property, or I'm a.
Yeah, not with 22. Maybe in like a 30 caliber.
No, but I'm saying like it's got that feel to it. It's like it's
old
and like it's weird.
It's old as shit.
Yeah,
It's got a couple of unoriginal screws. I got it secondhand. Well, obviously, I'm not, the original owner of
You're
it.
not
but,
the original owner of this. You sure?
Yeah. No, it's got a couple of unoriginal screws in it, and at some point,
Yeah.
sometime a long time ago, somebody tried engraving something on the side of the receiver, like a little outline, which looks horrible. But I mean, it's just a really old, cool gun. The wood is in great shape. And I shot it before once. I don't want to shoot it too much, but. People love the rolling block rifles, and the rolling block rifles, they made them in a bunch of different calibers. Many different militaries adopted them all over the world. Not in 22, obviously, but they might have. But in other
You should
calibers,
bring this to Rick in Las Vegas at their pawn shop and just see how badly they like try.
Well, the funny thing
hump
is
you.
they don't deal in modern firearms. Anything
Yeah,
after
that's true.
1898,
That's true.
so
That's
they
true.
don't have an FFL.
I was just curious. You can go there and he'll
I
offer you
don't
like $100 for it.
Probably. He'd
What
rick
do
me.
you think this is actually? Yeah.
I have no idea. It just sits in my safe.
How much did you pay for it? You said like $200.
No.
Less?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
Good for you.
it was kind of
Taking off.
It was kind of it was gifted in a way.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, it was somebody who we knew who passed away.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh, good.
yeah, so saving some history.
Well, it probably would go to the fucking
Shredder.
Yeah, I mean in New York, they
Yeah.
just fucking grind this shit up, but they don't even
Yeah.
care.
And back when Remington made quality firearms in Ilion, New York,
You know what you should do? You should totally just like cut the barrel off and just
thread it,
fuck-
put a suppressor on it.
No, you just cut it right here.
Oh yeah.
And then cut it down here.
Oh god. I'm sure that'll turn into a crime scene gun.
That
But-
is like, people do that in the city.
But the cool thing here, John, pass it
Yeah,
over
here
this
you go.
way. So the way the rolling block works is there's two blocks basically that pivot. It's like
Yeah.
round blocks, and it has a breech block and then it has a hammer block. I don't know if those are the technical terms. That's what I call them. Basically, you pull the hammer block back, and that allows you to pull the breech block back.
Right.
And when you pull it back far enough, there's a little extractor that grabs the rim, pulls it out, and you can kind of just flick it out.
yeah.
And then you close the first.
Mm.
Yeah, see, you have to hold the hammer. John
Yeah.
and I were putzing around with this before the podcast, and I was showing him how to use it, and he was just like cowboying it
No,
and
Here, give
pushing
me-
pushing
No,
the
that's
rear
not-
hammer.
That's not what I did.
Listen,
No, what happened was he said, okay, so I know it might be hard unless you don't know the
look up
firearm.
a picture of a Remington rolling block.
There's like two
Two
hammers,
yeah.
okay, basically. So you pull the first one back, and then you got to pull the second one back while you're pulling the first one back. Then he said push the first one forward as if a round was loaded. This gun is safe, clear, and empty. So there's no ammo in this room at all.
Are you
So
gonna try and get it on audio.
no. I'm just looking at it.
Oh.
So like I went to go push it up, and the fucking back hammer just closes. So I'm like, wow,
Well,
that is super fucking dangerous.
And
like
by what he means by closes, slams down on the firing pin.
right? As if the trigger was fucking pulled.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, that's fucking dangerous as fuck. Like,
Well, that's why you have to be gentle with old things.
yeah, but you like handed me, you're like, yeah, just cock it back. Like, you didn't tell me, hey, if like you
Right.
do it a certain way, like.
It's like when you got to put the hammer down
And
on
then-
a revolver. You don't just, all right, there you go. You thumb it down.
But I didn't touch the fucking hammer on this.
Saying.
There's basically two hammers, and I was fucking with the top one to load the firearm. There was no cowboying of anything. Okay, don't
know.
pretend. And then you know what? This motherfucker wants to pretend. I handed it to him. He's like, "I'll show you," and he did the same fucking.
Well,
thing.
I did it the way you did it.
No,
And then,
no,
Yeah.
because you looked at me and you were like, "Oh, whoops, oh, okay, yeah." You're fucking smiling right now. This fucking guy.
No.
He's a clown. This guy, he likes to think that he knows everything there is to know.
No.
Yes.
You have to be gentle.
The bottom
with old
line
things.
is, if you have one of these, be fucking careful.
Yeah,
This is
that's-
not the type of 22 I would train somebody on.
Oh, I
first
would.
time gun. I would not.
Oh.
I would not. There's too many. I mean, it's for two people who are really good around firearms to both not fully understand how that works.
I mean, I
that's-
know how it works. You just have to be gentle with it.
Well, for someone who knows how it works, get the fuck out of here. For someone who knows how it works.
So, yeah, and there's a cocking notch, and then there's a safety notch. See the way that works?
Yes, I know.
So when you close that, it
Yes,
goes to the cocking notch.
Yes, I understand it now, but
Oh, there you go.
he just did it.
It just did it.
Yeah, see? This fucking clown. He's a clown.
Clown.
Yes, you are.
All right, it's an old gun.
It's
and
an
you
old
have
gun.
to treat it very gingerly.
It's an old gun, and it's probably broken.
It's not broken. It works just fine. It's a single shot 22.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. But I don't know. It's a wall piece.
So yeah,
dude.
it's not a wall piece.
This is
like
like-
it works.
This is you told me you fired it one time and you don't want to fire it ever again because you're like afraid you're gonna break it.
well, yeah, because it's old as shit.
Okay, that's what I'm
It's
saying.
not the kind of robust
hang
military.
it on your
firearm.
wall. Get the special permitting from the government with the new gun control
I'm
measures.
gonna say lick my sack on that one.
You son of a bitch. All right. No, it's a cool little gun.
It
Well,
is. I really
Taylor,
like
take
it.
Well, Taylor, when you go home later, take some pictures of this and send them to me.
Yeah, you could just do it after this.
I don't think we're gonna have time because like it's late and me and my wife want to eat dinner at a normal hour. It's already not a normal hour, but no, it's a pretty cool gun. Here,
I happen to really enjoy it.
Yeah.
The wood is in great shape. It's got this like kind of I don't know if this is brass that the barrel's made of, but it's got like this like kind of brownish gold color to it.
yeah, it's
almost.
rusted.
It's not rusted. It's got patina.
It's patina is probably the right word.
Yeah.
It looks like it's old as hell, but it doesn't have like the feeling like because I was like, oh shit, it looks rusted.
It's
but
not
when you,
pitted.
But when you
No,
feel
it's
it's
smooth,
not rusted
smooth
at
as
all.
Fuck yeah. And this is back when they made really great quality guns. Back in the day.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool gun. It's kind of cool to see like you got something like that's fucking old as fuck, and then something that's more modern.
And that's why I figured
It's
I'd bring
cool.
it.
You know, it's very cool.
Yeah. And
it's a
22
piece of
is-
American history.
Oh, definitely. Piece of New York history.
That's
I mean,
what I meant, right?
like I said, Remington used to employ
Right.
a lot of people, and they used to make some great shit up there.
Right.
And now they, the Democrats and the liberals want to put the gun industry out of business.
Yep.
They want to be able to sue gun manufacturers.
Yep.
So for example, if this thing NDs at the range or
Yeah.
it accidentally discharges, can I sue Remington for a gun made in 1890
Right.
or later?
Right.
I mean, it makes no fucking sense.
right.
That's why a lot of times, you introduce somebody to firearms and you introduce them to the responsible gun ownership, to the safety of gun handling, and then you say, okay, this is something that could kill someone.
Yeah.
It gives them a new level of respect, and then it also gives a level of respect, I think, to the people that make them, that care about, hey, this gun can either be used to defend someone, it could be used to hunt, it could be used to put food on your table. So the people that make them also take a lot of pride in what they do.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's
So-
a tool like anything else.
Yes, it is.
I much rather have a Ruger 1022 than that old fucking.
Well,
who
I mean, yeah,
knows?
it's a modern semi-automatic 10-round box magazine fed. It's the safety's a lot better. I mean, this gun doesn't have
There is no safety.
Exactly.
It just goes on whatever it wants.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Right.
listen, back then the safety was you.
The safety was there's no one around you for miles because you're alone in the fucking forest.
The safety was the fact that
you
it was
live on the homestead.
Yeah,
and
the
no one
homestead.
around.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
I mean, but
shit.
I really appreciate firearms from that time where they didn't
Oh,
think you
God.
were a fucking moron.
live on like little house on the prairie with that thing, like
Yeah.
trying to survive the harsh winters and the famines.
It's funny though, if you do look at it, like this type of stock, like I'm just looking at the 1022 stock and the number 4 stock, they have a very similar curve in the butt stock. A very similar. That was my
you,
watch.
okay.
Yeah. Just hitting the. I mean, it was hitting the chair.
Yeah. I see.
It has a similar comb style on the stock. I mean, the classic design of a 22 stock. I mean, it's.
I'm curious if that's the 1022 stock was like, that was kind of a nod.
I mean, I don't think it was a nod to Remington per se, but I think it's just a nod to the
22.
Well, to the throwback of that
Yeah.
style. I mean,
Right.
back when you can, give a child a firearm and not have to worry about him doing something stupid with it.
Well, geez, man, it's like, and this is still in some parts of this country, but I mean, back in the day, people would just have like 22s and shotguns like on their truck, on like the back of their truck, and they would like go to school and park in the lot. You know, like it's a shame. And you know what? Like the whole thing is like there's a lot of like mental illness now, and I feel like I don't know if it's
But why do you think that is? I mean, that's
Well,
a huge conversation, I guess.
right. And I was just about to say like I don't know if it's just because like mental illness as a whole is more widespread, we know a lot more about it now, or if there's just more in our lives that just drive us.
Well, that's
to
what it
mental.
is.
Like, I have no doubt if you just like put a gun on a fucking, like on the back of a car and left it there, like someone would come take it.
Oh,
and,
of
like,
course.
probably try and kill somebody with it.
Of course. I mean, my opinion on mental illness in today's society is the fact that we as humans in the last 100 years have gone through a complete and just, I mean, the word radical I think applies here, change in the way we live our lives. I mean, think about 1921. What was going on then? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus 100 years later, which in the time of human history is just a drop in the bucket. It's like a blink of an eye. I mean, somebody who was born in the 20s literally could have lived on a homestead, never seen a car, and then, 40 years later saw a guy on the fucking moon.
Right.
And then 40 years after that saw, a space shuttle blow up. And then saw 9/11 and saw terrorism. I mean,
how old? You said your grandma was how old?
92.
When was she born?
She was born in 1929, I want to say.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, I think 1929.
Just like the shit that she has lived through is fucking amazing.
And that's why, to me, I think that. Well, I'm gonna sum it up with this. I was watching a documentary on this guy who was a prisoner in a North Korean labor camp. He was born there because his parents were there. He was born in the labor camp. That's all he knew. That's all his life was. As horrible as you fucking think it was, they were catching rats to eat them. They had to do forced work, and he grew up in it. He didn't know any better. Guy came into the camp, new prisoner, and he was describing to this guy what chicken was and how it tasted. And he's like, I've never heard of anything so spectacular. I want to have chicken.
Chicken, of all things.
Well,
it's like the most fucking mundane.
Exactly. So basically, him and this guy escaped. And the older guy, died on an electrified fence. And he used the body to climb through the fence.
Oh, it's fucking hardcore.
I think the documentary is Escape from Camp 14. I think.
But do you think it's like legit? Because like a lot of people who defect, like.
Right. Well, this guy's story, but what I'm getting at is.
Right.
What I'm getting to the end of the story. This is just bear with me. Right. So he gets out, he goes to this village, and he sees people trading things for paper, which is money. He's like, he had no concept of money.
Sure.
Basically, he winds up defecting to South Korea, and he lives in this apartment, and they're interviewing in this apartment, and the apartment is sparse. He's sleeping on a blanket on the floor, no furniture, no nothing. He's just sitting there he's like a prisoner almost in this free society.
Sure.
And he's basically like, I'm paraphrasing, but basically he said, in the labor camp that I was in, suicide was rarely a thing. I moved to South Korea, and suicide is a daily occurrence.
Right.
People here have everything they could want. They have such a high quality of life. Right. Why do they choose to kill themselves?
Yeah.
He's like, given the chance, I would go back to North Korea and just live on a farm and just farm. That's what he wants to do. And I'm like, this guy escaped to South Korea in the free world, and he wants to go back to North Korea and just farm. And like he said, people living in modern Western civilizations have everything they could want, have the great life, but yet they still feel the need to kill themselves. Meanwhile, people in a North Korean prison labor camp don't.
Right.
And they have literally every reason to probably want to do so.
Right.
And that's what it gets into my picture of what mental illness is in this country. It's just society, not to sound like some weird fucking hippie or something, but it's just society puts so much burden on us.
Yeah.
Society, we feel the need to keep up with the Joneses, societal pressure, social media, money, huge problems that really don't affect us. We take on.
There's a lot of pressures.
Yes. So some guy who wants to just go back to North Korea and farm.
Yeah.
That to me is just like, holy shit, he would go back.
Right.
And that fucking blows my mind.
Yeah.
And me as an American watching that on my smartphone on a couch, having a beer, I'm just like, fuck.
Wow. Right.
What does that mean for my life? And not to get too deep and philosophical, but that unfortunately goes back to a time where in America where things weren't as complicated. People can work a decent job at a factory and have a house and have a life.
Right.
And they didn't have this pressure of working two jobs.
Right.
You could have one income. You could have a decent car. You could have a decent home. You come back from war, you could have a job and you could have a family and live in a house in Levittown and have a decent life.
Right.
Before everything now goes to shit, where everything costs so much money,
yeah.
Government's fucking you, hyperinflation, taxes, continuous war. And it just kind of just gets into the sense of like, some people just take that on and they just hold it and then they can't deal with it. So I think the human psyche hasn't progressed like we have as a society.
Sure.
Getting into the gun now, the gun has remained largely unchanged since those simpler times.
Right.
And people,
there's no difference. Like the gun hasn't changed, you know.
Right.
So like it's that you make a great point.
the people have changed,
Right.
and that's why people tell
Society
me,
has changed.
and that's why people tell me it's like we need to ban assault rifles, and I'm like, well, the gun hasn't changed since the '60s when the AR-15 was invented in the late '50s, early '60s. The gun hasn't changed.
Right.
People have. So why should we ban the gun? We really need to change the morality of people in our society.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking culturally. And listen, you want to live your life, you live your life. That's not my decision. But
Right.
something as simple as at 22, just being able to take that, a kid going to school and then afterwards going to the woods with his buddies,
Yeah.
you know, it shouldn't be a problem. Like, we should have far bigger problems to worry about in life now
Right.
than a kid wanting to take a 22, just keep it in his car, and then go to the woods after with his friends to hang out. And I'm sure in some parts of the country that happens, and that's great.
Right.
But not where we live.
No. And it'll never go back to that way.
No. And that's the sad part. You know, sorry I got kind of deep on that, but like, you know, it's something
We should have like an episode of like the mental health discussion. We kind of covered it a little bit.
We covered it from time to time, and some people commented to me because one time, like I said in one of the episodes that we were dealing with mental health, I said, you know, just because somebody wants to kill themselves, that's not my problem. And I still feel that way, but
Someone
doesn't.
commented about that.
Somebody who listened to it mentioned it to me. They're like, "Hey, I listened to the podcast, and you said something that it's kind of insensitive, and you should really be more understanding to people's problems." Like, I am very understanding to people's problems, but because of the way I live my life, if people want to do something, they should be able to do it, and it shouldn't have an impact on me.
Well, I think I remember that we were kind of getting at like the differences in like.
Oh, it was the episode with the Northwell Health. Yeah.
Well, we kind of covered that, like, kind of just talking about, you know, I can understand why he was saying that's like insensitive. I get it. At the same time, I think the discussion was more so the differences in like our ideological viewpoints, like, you know, like the right side sees things as a individual issue.
Right.
Right.
The left side sees it as a collective.
Right. So like, correct. So I think it goes. Right. I think your comment kind of.
If somebody comes to me and says, "I'm thinking of killing myself," of course I'm going to be like, "All right, what do you want? You need me to, you know, you're going to talk. You want to talk about
what
it?
Do you
what
need
can
me
I
to
do?
for
Yeah,
you? Like,
yeah, somebody I care about, obviously, but somebody who I have no association with, who thinks that they're going to kill themselves and wants to take away my right to own a firearm because they can't seek the help that they need to get. That's where I draw the line.
Sure.
Somebody I care about says, you know, I'm having these thoughts. Of course I'm going to listen to them. Of course I'm going to give them help. Of course I'm going to do what I can for them.
Yeah.
I'm not, you know, an insensitive asshole, well, to some degree. But, you know, it just gets to the point of where trying to legislate because of feelings, not because of morality, but because of feelings, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So I think morality needs to change for the better. I mean, listen, people could argue that the type of morality I have versus the type of morality that other people have is oppressive or insensitive or, you know, the magical R word, racist, whatever. Yeah. But, you know, certain people, like, let's just say in Black Lives Matter, wants to destroy the nuclear family or dismantle the nuclear family from what their website. I happen to think
that says it on their website.
Right, exactly. I happen to think a very strong nuclear family might help support people.
Well, there's been studies done and it's proven that the nuclear family promotes like a healthy family life. And
of course,
you know. So I mean, that's just that is a radical point of view, and you know that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, but you know, getting back to the lowly 22, it's just kind of one of those guns where it just brings you back to that simpler time of where it's not this loud, scary, you know, for lack of a better word, gun in other people's eyes. It's a 22. You could take it out. It's not going to piss off the neighbors. It sounds like a big pop, you know, and you could suppress it really easily in states that allow it, and it's just so quiet.
I mean, I'm sure people in upstate New York who are listening have 22s and they go out, and I'm sure they have a fuck ton of land and they shoot it in their backyard.
I would take that out every day if I had.
Right.
If I had the time and ammo wasn't 25 cents around.
I wonder. Well, now, yeah. I wonder if like people, because there's land like out east.
Yeah, hunting land, but a lot of times you can't rifle hunt out there. It's only bow and shotgun.
But I mean, if it's private land.
Well, yeah, private land.
You think there's enough privately owned land out there to like just shoot?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that people have acres and acres, and honestly,
no one would ever know. Yeah,
please.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah,
stuff.
No, for sure. I mean, I think it's a great gun. Like I said, I wish I could shoot it more. I wish I could really use it to its full potential, like shooting reactive targets, steel targets, cans, things that interact, because that would be fun for me rather than just sitting like 50 yards and shooting paper.
Like Hickok 45 on YouTube.
Oh my God, that's the dream range, bro.
He's got such a cool little setup.
Oh my God, actually, it's huge. Like
where does he live?
Tennessee.
Oh damn!
There's a video where he's like, some people
Yeah.
don't think that those targets are
They're
200
very
yards.
Yeah, they're far.
And
I mean,
he
it goes
walked
up,
it.
right.
Yeah, it's really far. It's
Right.
deceptive because it's like a valley
Yeah.
that the targets are in. But yeah,
Right.
it's really deceptive. He just did a video the other day of Winchester M1 Woods Walk, where he just takes an M1 and walks through the woods and shoots at
That's awesome.
soda bottles hiding behind
If you've
trees.
never seen him, go check him out and tell him that the New York Gun Guy sent you.
Be like,
we
"Who?"
don't know him at all.
No, not at all. He did a video with Tucker Carlson though recently, and
Oh,
it was
yeah?
really cool.
Yeah, he's got like fucking. He's got to have like.
He's
hundreds
one of the
or millions.
original gun guys on YouTube.
Yeah,
He was
how
one of
many
the-
how many subscribers? He's got to have like a couple million, right?
Oh, more than that. More than that. Ian from Forgotten Weapons has like a couple million. I'm gonna pull this up real quick. He was one of the original gun YouTubers, Hickok45. He has 5.89
Yeah.
million subscribers.
Good for him, man.
I mean,
he's making a.
He used to
good
be a school
living.
teacher.
Really?
Yeah, he used to be a school teacher.
Not a liberal, I guess.
No, not liberal, especially in Tennessee.
Wow.
Because people liked his approach to videos because he was
Yeah.
just this old guy and he's like, well, this is the gun and this is what I think about it and let's go shoot it. And he just bam, 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 bam. He had the whole
Yeah.
range.
He's a
and-
cool guy.
Yeah.
You could just
And-
tell. I mean, he comes off maybe a little arrogant sometimes.
No, not at all.
Sometimes.
I like his videos.
I do. I watch his videos. They're
Because
cool.
back when I was getting into guns, he was somebody that was really huge on YouTube,
No.
and
Yeah.
I would watch a lot of his videos.
No way, man. Iraq vet 8888.
Well, yeah, R.I.P. Barry.
Yeah. Oh, fucking bad.
R.I.P. Barry.
He must have died like what 10 years ago.
Oh man, no, I was like maybe 8 years ago. It was crazy though when that
There
happened. Like,
another-
he got like arrested and then he had like a heart attack or
Yeah.
some crazy shit.
Rip
Yeah,
Barry.
Moss Pawn, Iraq vet, Hickok45,
IV 8888 on
Nothing
like, Instagram.
Fancy. I stopped watching Nothing Fancy's videos not because like he doesn't produce good content, but he just like everything about him was like, all right, guys, we have this gun and I really like it and we're gonna take it out to the dead. I'm like, I don't know. It just
There's a lot of really flashy YouTube gun guys now who are like high production value, like
well, if you think about it, that's what their job is. And then as the standards and expectations go up, so does the
yeah. But there is just still something about watching like
Some
Hickok
guy in the
45.
woods,
It's just like
the same table,
it's
the
a
same
dude,
range.
It's an old guy, a gun, and like a dude filming, bro. Like that's it. Even Iraq vets videos, man. I mean, like sure, like the quality of video has gotten better,
Yeah,
but
the
they're
format.
not like flashy
Yeah.
and a lot of like who was that guy who like pretended to be Russian?
Oh, FPS Russia.
Yeah, he got like arrested, right?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
bullshit though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they said he was allegedly trafficking in marijuana, but
Oh.
they had to get him basically because he offered this girl that was over his house a joint. And
Oh, God.
Georgia has its own separate like Georgia Bureau of Investigations, and they would come and investigate him. And I think he does a podcast, Painkiller Already. That's the name of the podcast where he talks about like his time in jail. And
Does
his
he
arrest.
talk in his like fake
No,
Russian
no,
accent?
no.
He talks in his like
Yeah.
People think he's like actually Russian.
No,
man.
he had a crazy story, man. Like
Nah,
he tells
he's-
a story about him like coming up and like how he got into the guns and how like he got arrested and
Yeah.
he tells like the whole story. It's actually really crazy. It's the
Right.
biggest load of bullshit you'll ever hear.
Yeah.
Like the ATF agents come to his house and they're like, they couldn't find like the drugs or like the guns and they're like, he's like, well, let me just go into this bedroom. Oh, here's a machine gun that you couldn't find. Here you go. And it's
Jesus.
wild, man. Like you listen to them. It's hilarious. His prison stories.
Yeah.
Fucking hilarious. He was only in it
Weird.
for like 2 months or some
Yeah.
shit. It was bullshit. Wow, that was a big diversion from 22.
Well, that's okay. Do you have anything else to say about the 22? I don't know, man. 22. I mean, you know what? It's funny. There's like so much history with the 22, but there's also like not much really to say.
22. The people that I've met that are really into 22s are really into them. They like collect old 22s. They competition shoot 22s. They bullseye shoot 22s. Like you'll see a guy at the range and he has the whole get up box with the 22 pistol and the bullseye target. And he cleans the barrel after each shot. I mean, it's an Olympic sport. They shoot 22. I mean, it's a really big deal in the world.
I think there's a guy who follows our Instagram who's like an Olympian, like
yeah, you
he's
showed
like,
me.
shoots like 22.
Yeah.
He's like a blue check mark guy. Like
Yeah,
and he just like
verified.
fucking like it's so funny. I think he I don't know if he follows us or if he liked one of our
I think
videos.
he
I
liked
think-
one of our
yeah.
videos.
So that was pretty cool. That happened like
Yeah.
really early on.
Yeah, no, it
but yeah,
was.
he's got like a very like high tech
And like you
firearm.
And like you said, 22 is oftentimes acceptable around the world. So
Yeah.
countries that have very restrictive laws often have a carve out for 22. So a lot of people throughout the world can enjoy it. So they make all different kinds of 22 rounds, and people really just enjoy it. I mean, it's a lot of people's first gun. It's a lot of people's first time shooting a gun, so they just have that fondness, that nostalgia for it.
Yeah, I definitely have like I said in the beginning, I have a connection.
Yeah,
but it's just like it's not something I'm like going out dying.
well,
to buy.
like I said, if I had a better opportunity to shoot it with some cool interactive targets, there's also a YouTube guy, 22 Plinkster, really cool channel. He does some crazy 22 stuff like splitting playing cards and like trick shots and all this cool shit with it. So
if I was gonna get a 22, it would definitely be a Ruger 1022.
oh, of course, that's like the most ubiquitous 22. Yeah. I mean, a lot of times Smith & Wesson makes an M&P in 22, an AR-15. It's a dedicated AR-15, so that's pretty cool. But you could find them still relatively cheap. There's millions of them out there. I mean, with 2020 gun pandemic aside, you know, who knows what the future is going to be, and hopefully 22 isn't 25 cents a round. Like, fuck me, that's a lot of money.
Probably another year or so.
I hope so, man. I mean, luckily, I have a lot of 22.
I'm going to be stocking up.
Yeah.
100%. You have to.
Yeah. I've had a lot of 22 for a long time, and I would just buy it. Like, if I just saw it, I'd just buy it. You know, back then it was $20 for a brick of 500. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I would just buy a brick, and then, you know, I wouldn't be able to shoot as much as I would have liked to, so I just put it away, and then, you know, just kind of stacks up.
All right, so I think we're good. But let's wrap this one up. There's really not much more I think we could say.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a pretty simple subject, but it's huge. So if you want to look more into 22s, check out videos on YouTube.
Yeah, if there's any, if you're listening to this and you're like, holy shit, they didn't cover X, Y, and Z about 22s, let us know when we'll talk about it.
We might do a follow up. I mean, I'm sure we're gonna get people saying, oh, well, what about this gun or what about this use of a 22?
There's just so much.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, this is my personal experience with 22. These are the 22s I have, the conversion kit, and this is my thoughts and opinions on it.
We have gotten actually quite a few
requests for 22.
Well, requests, but just comments about them in general. Maybe we'll take a look at those comments and we'll do like a part 2 to this.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Check us out. Instagram, Facebook. We are the NYGunGuys, all one word, NYGunGuys. Like us, follow us, share us. Check out the other episodes on Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and Podbean. We'll put the link on the Facebook page.
Definitely.
Cool. You look like you had something else to say, my man.
No.
All right, sounds good.
All right, later. Stay safe.
Stay safe.